Give me some brew and I might just chill. But I'm the type that like to light another joint like Cypress Hill. I still do be spit loogies when I puff on it. I got some bucks on it, but it ain't enough on it. Go get the S-T-I-D-E-S.
All right,
nevertheless, I'm hella fresh, rolling joints like a cigarette. So pass it across the table like ping pong. I'm gone, beating my chest like King Kong. It's on, wrap my lips around the 40. And when it comes to getting another stogie, fools all kick in like Shinobi. Know me ain't my homie to begin with. It's too many heads to be popping at my friend hit. Unless you pull out the fat crispy $5 bill on the real before it's history. Cause we having them vacuum lungs. And if you let them hit it for free, you hella dumb, dumb. I come to school with a Taylor on my earlobe, avoiding all the click teasers, skeezers, and weirdos. Got me throwing off the land like where the bomb at. Give me $2, you take a puff and pass my bomb back. Suck up the dank like a Slurpee. The serious bomb will make a nigga go delirious like Eddie Murphy. I got more growing pains than Maggie.
It's important, welcome everybody. I just feel like this song really gets stuck in my head because it's really about, who can we put on, right? Who do you have 5 on this line? Go ahead and tag 5 people in the comments as we pop in. Have people join in. We're going to have a really great discussion today with 3 of our amazing folks on our panel today. Hey Taya, we're so glad to have you back. So excited. I'm just putting things on the Facebook page for folks to find us. So I'm super excited to have you here with us today. You're always on time, I love it. Damn. Yes. So excited. I'm just putting things.
Hell no, you better bring your own slip cheek. What's up, don't babysit that? Better pass the joint. Stop hitting cause you know you got asthma. Crack the 40 open, homie, and guzzle it. Cause I know
so excited. I'm just getting lonely.
I gotta take a whiz test to my
Hi, welcome to the live. So excited to have you here. Our guest will be joining us shortly. But thank you all for being here so much. My name is Michelle. I'm the senior program manager here at Women Engaged. And as always, we love to break in about some music and some jams. So today's song is really about relational organizing, making sure that we're putting people on, and making sure they have what they need to vote in this election. So whether that's voting by mail, voting by absentee, taking it to your drop box, voting in person, whether that's early or on election day, making sure that we're really here and showing up for you. So as we go through today, make sure that you, if you can, go ahead and take our place to vote. That'd be really helpful to us. And I see more people are joining the live. Go ahead and chime in, tell us who's been watching. I'll do a quick shout out before we get started.
Hold up, suck up my weed, it's all you do, kicking feet. Cause we're IBs, we need tap like the foo-foo.
It's all good. I get people my side, and I also know it's a little bit of relaxing. We're really in for a treat today, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. We're about, this is 2 minutes past the hour. Our panel's going to come on at 12:15. What you know about this song? Hey, Andre. Oh, trust me, that's my jam, okay? I got 5 on it. Oh my gosh. And so just so everybody knows, this is a part of our collaborative playlist with our team. We like to try to get some music going when we're sending out texts or, just bringing in the day. I mean, our guest last week, Jayla, said it the best, like, what would movement be without music? So that's definitely what we have to do to bring it in. But I'm so glad to have you here, Andre. Thank you. But just to go ahead and start getting into some of the news updates, as people didn't hear, but last week while we were on our live, we actually got word that the Supreme Court ruled that the current administration could end the collection of the census early. So actually the last day to fill out the census was yesterday. And so we're super excited for those who were able to, get counted. Getting counted is so important when it comes to our right to vote and the power vote. So kudos to all of you all who took the census, got it done, and made sure that your family and friends were counted. So this is so important. Also, as many folks know, early voting kicked off in Georgia with long lines, as always. So I will say, when Georgia turned out, we turned out voters. Okay, our voter turnout was so high, it has been so high. Almost half a million people cast their ballots all across the state in Georgia. So I just want to say kudos to y'all for really kicking out and getting the vote out day one. I think as we continue to go forward with a lot of stuff around there, our eyes are really towards nonpartisan election protection efforts. So if folks want to, we would love to have you join us. And now you get trained. We meet people who are doing some things in person, of course, practicing COVID-19 best practices. So socially distancing, wearing face masks, creating limited interaction, or to do social media monitoring, making sure that we are looking for misinformation and disinformation, making sure that we're working to get it offline, and also posting correct information. And what's great about this opportunity is that it is not just state-bound. So I'm actually going to drop the link into the chat. So for any of you folks who are tuning in from anywhere across the country, if you want to help us with this effort to make sure that we protect our election, whether it's in person or online, we would love to have you join. So we'll go ahead and drop that in the chat right now.
I'm Big Bang Hank, I'm everywhere. Just throw your hands up in the air and party harder like you just don't care. Let's do it. Don't stop, y'all. Take a talk, y'all.
Yeah, there we go. That's the link right there. Feel free to share it with your friends and family and other folks who are interested. Again, we need people who are monitoring things on social media. We need people who are doing some first stuff, people who just post things. As we know, there's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to our community and the things that really count. Also, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about our Pledge to Vote card. I know right now, a lot of us are feeling very overwhelmed by the amount of notifications that we're getting about voting. I know that on the first day of early voting myself, I got at least 7 or 8 text messages from partners and other organizations who are really urging people to get out the vote. I know that my Instagram and my Facebook and even TikTok now has little areas where they talk about that. I even think on Discord, Twitch, all of those things. But the thing about it is that when it comes to our Pledge to Vote card, we're doing it so that we can also track the ballots getting in front of your way to cast your ballot. So oftentimes these are things that people don't necessarily consider is that sometimes having access to child care is a hindrance to people being able to go vote. I mean, we saw on Monday here in Georgia that some people here were actually waited almost 10 hours to go and cast their ballot. And that's just not right in the standard, and we should normalize that. But in our work, we also work actively to address the barriers that stop our community from actually voting. So we want to make sure that folks are getting involved with that. And so you'll see the link in the chat as well for that Pledge to Vote. Really trying to encourage people to take part in this. It really takes a collective effort for us to show up in the community. That's what we have. Because no matter what the result of November 30th, it's going to take all of us to continue to be active in our political process by talking to our legislators, talking to elected officials, talking to our neighbors about the changes that we need to see and working collectively to help us build community. Have that link shared with folks. If you know people in Georgia from an out-of-state folks, go ahead and share it with them as well. Or know people who know people who really get that kind of gain. We really want to push that. And so for some things on the horizon for us, and I'm super excited about this, is that next week, second, we're actually going to be taking a deeper dive with these down ballot in some of these ways to really start explaining what some of these things are, what they mean, and also starting to look at some of the resolutions and constitutional amendments that are coming up for this portion. So really excited about that. And then at the end on the last Friday, which I think is the 30th, which also signifies the last day for early voting, we're going to have a special guest, our family executive director, Lisa Redman, to join us to give us some great words of hope to move this into November 30th. So I'm super excited about that. I see some more people have popped in. Go ahead and try comment in the chat. Where you coming from? Where you listening in from? I want to know. This is a community conversation.
But while the sticky goes steaming, your mind starts to dream another moment it's time to leave. And then you look at your
I think I see some folks. I see some lights. But I haven't seen anyone comment in the comments. Don't leave me hanging, y'all. Right before we introduce our special guests that are going to be joining us today. I guess I can kind of brag on them a little bit. So for those of you all who don't know, Women Engaged, we've been in this work for at least 6 years, doing year-round civic and community engagement, intersectional civic engagement, and reproductive justice. And we did that by launching our signature Rise. And I'm so excited for these young folks who are going to be joining us today because they have really been putting in a lot of work and not only contacting the community to inform them of the things that are going on, but also using their talent and expertise to even create some of the content that we share with you all through our various social media sites. And so I'm super excited to have them join us today. 2 of them are currently at Clark Atlanta, super excited. Shout out Clark Atlanta. And the other student is currently going to Agnes Scott. And so I just wanted to shout them out real quickly before they get here. So do folks have any questions in the chat before we get started? With our people, they'll be on in about 5 minutes. So we have about 5 minutes. Oh, I know. I just, I figured Solange would be good this week because it's kind of like a seat at the table. We're having our own little table, but Janelle will be back, definitely. But thank you for that. Oh yeah, I just gotta show off my little mug here with the We Rise, okay? We out here doing it big. I don't know if you can see it, the sun here by the window, being bright. I try to drink a little more tea, especially when it gets like cooler and stuff like that. Really good for allergies. One day, Lauren, you got mine. Oh goodness. No, thank you so much for being here. We love to see it. Yes. Ooh, hi Cynthia, happy Friday. I'm so excited to see you. Like, I love when you come and sit into our live and stuff like that. Oh, hi Mom. Hi Mom. I love it. Oh my goodness. And okay, we're so excited to have you all here. Yes. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. We are building community, y'all. I know, Cynthia, I love engaging with you and seeing your comments and stuff. That's awesome to let you all know too. We're also going to have another watch party for the presidential debate next Thursday, October 22nd. So love to see you there. Cynthia has some really good takes on what's going on, and so I just love having you in the space because thank you. Oh my goodness, who else do we have here? I know. I think my grandma's watching right now. I don't know if she's commenting now, but hi, Grandma. Let's see. Who else do we have here? So now I'm just going to start calling y'all out by looking at the likes and the hearts, y'all. Watching it with the Women Engaged. You are so right. We had so much fun the last time around. People posting gifs and reactions and stuff like that. Of course, just so you all know, if you don't know, we are a 501c3. We are nonpartisan. We do not advocate for or against the political party or candidate. Debates are more so, just a space for us to build community and be able to engage with one another. Because even though we are, physically distant, doesn't mean that we have to be socially distant. In the sense that, like, we come together and experience these things and dialogue with one another. So we really try to work to curate these spaces. It's also about youth. That's why, calling out folks who are joining live, we really want to bring folks in on this. Because again, this is what we got. That no matter what happens in November 3rd, we're going to come together and we're going to do these types of things. Oh, hello! How are you? Okay. I feel like I don't want to mispronounce your name. Faker? Or is it? I hope I said that correctly. Let me know in the comments if I didn't say it correctly. I'm so sorry. We'll call you Mrs. Ores. Okay. Okay, hold on. We got our first person here. Okay, hey Jayla. Okay, oh, her audio's connected. Okay, here we go. Hey Jayla.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. Welcome, welcome. We are just counting people out in the comments. Who are tuning in and stuff like that. So we're gonna give people a couple more moments to hop in with us. We're so glad to have you here. Yes, yes.
Yes, happy to be here.
Oh my gosh. So let's see here. Oh, look at this. This is great. Okay, because we got a I think this is a family member of yours. I don't want to mispronounce her name though.
It's okay. I'll tell you how to say it.
It's Treka?
That's my mom. Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, because look, we believe that we need to, honor people's names and stuff. So I wanted to make sure. But so hi, I called her Mrs. I was like, hey, Miss Ores.
Yes, you pronounced it correctly. It's right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, welcome, and somebody. Oh, they said that you look gorgeous in your yellow, girl. I know you over here. You fly. You real fly. Okay, wait. Got the. I see you with the eyeshadow.
Oh yeah.
And then the hair. Okay. I swear, y'all. Like, Jayla be on it. So I guess while we wait for the other couple folks to hop on, why don't you tell folks like your name, we like your major, stuff like that.
Okay, well, hi y'all. I'm Jayla Ores. Pronouns are she, her, and hers. Go to Clark Atlanta, the illustrious Clark Atlanta University. And I'm majoring in mass media arts, and I am a graduating senior. Not just a regular senior, I'm graduating. So yes, that's me.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. See, look at here. Got the Clark Atlanta up in here. Courtney's joining us now, but their audio is connecting. So I'm super excited about this. So happy to have you on. So we're going to get it popping. But yes, y'all, we're going to have an amazing discussion today about all the things. And so, hey, Courtney, okay, and then hey, Taya. Oh,
hey, everybody.
We got the whole crew here. All right, so we just went ahead. Jayla just told everybody who she was, but Courtney, if you want to kick it off, let people know like your name, your major, what college you go to, stuff that you want to let folks know.
Hi, y'all. My name is Courtney. I am a senior mass media arts major with a concentration in TV, radio, and film at Clark Atlanta University, and I'm really excited to be here today.
Oh my goodness, yes. All right, then we're gonna pass it off to our next person, Taya.
Hey, my name is Taya. I'm a junior at Agnes Scott College. I'm majoring in anthropology and sociology and minoring in Africana Studies and business management.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you all here. Everyone is loving y'all. I'm just looking at the comments. Oh my goodness, somebody. Okay, hi Kim. I'm gonna pass this on. Kim said, "Awesome, Jayla." Like, yeah.
Hey.
Okay, look. I was like, this is how I gotta do it. I swear to God, this is I think my second time using Zoom to get on live on Facebook. It is still an adjustment to me, but I was like, we gotta shout our folks out as they hop up in the comments. So I'm super excited.
I had my mama send a link to the family group chat. So
okay, come on, family group chat. I'm saying everybody got the family group chat. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. So I guess today really just having a conversation. So for folks who are tuning in and stuff, at Women Engaged, we do a lot of work around like empowering Black folks, young Black folks and stuff like that. And we get a lot of questions about like what millennials and Gen Zs are thinking. And I'm only one millennial. So I can't speak for all millennials. And also like our team, like it's like roughly like 60-70% Gen Z. So we really want to take an opportunity to highlight 3 of our special folks here today about like some of their experiences as far as like how they're feeling about the climate and stuff like that. So I'm gonna just kick it off and ask the question that everybody else is probably wondering, is this y'all's first presidential election?
Yes. I was 17 last time, unfortunately, so yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, same. This is my first one too.
Okay. Same thing for you, Taya?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not a problem. I just figured we go ahead and get it out the way because that's the question that they always ask. It's like, Oh no, like this is the first time they're voting. So I guess like if whoever wants to take this one next, it's like, how do y'all feel about that? Like I can only imagine would have been like, I think my first presidential election was that I could actually vote in was Obama's second term. And so like, how is it for y'all like in this moment?
Well, I can go.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels a lot more real this time, because like we are responsible to play like an active role in this election. Whereas like last time, you know, we could tell our parents to vote, we could tell our, you know, adults to vote, but like because we're of age now, like we have a responsibility to like not only vote, but like also to like tell our friends to vote and like hold our friends accountable. Because I feel like whatever happens with the election, like it's gonna feel so much more impactful because like we were a part of making that happen. Hopefully, if it goes the way we want it to go. But yeah.
No, that's real.
I was gonna say that I would have to agree with Taya. I think that at least for me this time, one, I am excited because this is my first time voting in a presidential election, and it's such a big election, especially with everything going on. And so I think that when I like thinking about everything that's going on right now in the world, I'm like, understand the importance of this election and how I have to tell my friends, my peers, and maybe not even my friends, just people that I see like at my campus, people that I interact with and stuff like that. I think that it's so important to definitely get the word out. And I feel more of a need to get the word out versus when I was 17. Like I can say that I knew that it was an important election, but because I was so young, like I was still a senior high school, I was worried about like becoming a freshman in college and like, oh yay. I wasn't really thinking about how that election was going to really impact me. And now that I saw how that election has impacted me, I see the importance of it now that I am going to vote in my first presidential election.
And as for me, even though this is my first president voting this is my first time voting in this presidential election, this isn't necessarily my first time, I guess, being invested in a presidential election. So this time I can say I am excited, but I'm not gonna flex. I am nervous, I am anxious because it has been, you know, it's been proven that it could go either way in the past. And like, cause I think I started getting invested in presidential elections when I was in the fourth grade. And yeah, fourth grade, eighth grade, and 12th grade. And it was because this person in my classroom, we used to get in many debates in class. And that's what made me get invested in the presidential debates. Like my first debate I ever watched was in fourth grade, just so I could go to school and say what I had to say to him. So yeah, so I'm nervous, but I'm excited at the same time.
No, that's real. No, and I appreciate all of y'all for saying it. It makes me think too. Like I think for me, when Obama was first elected, I was probably like a junior in high school or something, like something like that. And I mean, I was involved, you know, like I was doing some stuff and whatnot, but it was still very like, you know, in hindsight, you see how major it is, especially like now with everything that we know that was going on back then. Like, it's just so wild. And so I guess like, you know, we all know it's 2020, it's a pandemic, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess like, how are y'all adjusting to that? Like, okay, we got voting, but like y'all are also in school, right? So like, what has that experience been like for y'all trying to juggle like the weight of like what's going on in the midst of like the pandemic and then the uprisings that have been happening like all across the country?
I could start again. We can just go in our rotation. Okay. So I joke about it with my family all the time because I'm such a homebody. Like even before the pandemic, like I didn't really go anywhere. When I was here last summer, like I literally went from work, which is across the street, and then back home. And my mom was like, "Can you go out? Like, can you do something that's not being in the house?" And like, so I've always been a homebody. So being at home, isn't necessarily a bad thing for me. Like I'm glad I have the excuse to like stay inside now. Like friends would be like, "Oh, do you want to?" "Oh no, it's a pandemic. Like I have to stay home." So staying home isn't that bad. But what the adjustment is, I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and so there's 5 kids in the house. We just got a dog, and then our parents. So there's 7 of us in the house, and we've seen each other almost every single day since March. And that's where things start to get tricky. And so we're doing good. We're running out of things to do. And so we start conflicts sometimes for no reason, but we've been learning a lot about each other and just about our family. And so I'm really thankful for the pandemic for that. But as far as school goes, school is just hard. It's kicking my butt. It's kicking my friends' butts. I think what's hard is that on top of the pandemic, you're like at home, so you have to worry about family stuff and then working and then school where it's online. And it's just like, I saw something that was like, school being online makes it feel like it's optional, but it's really not. And so it's just really hard to like take care of everything all at once, just because there's so much uncertainty and like so many aspects of our lives. Like we don't know if we're going back to school next semester. And so we're all anticipating the news for that. Overall, it's just been a really tricky and difficult experience just to get used to, because like we're also like adults now and like young adults, and so like we miss our social lives. Like I miss my friends in Atlanta. I'm in New York right now, but there's just a lot of things that I miss and a lot of things that I'm just working on having to like get used to, because I feel like it's gonna be this way for a minute.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that. I can say that I was not necessarily like, I do enjoy being at home and like being by myself. Like that's just one of the things that I do like to do, because I've always been that way. But I just miss like the camaraderie being on like campus for real, and like being able to go to like different events and stuff. Like homecoming would have been last week, and like I'm a senior. This would have been my last homecoming in college, and I missed it, and that really sucked, because I was like, it would have been a good time. And then also just thinking about like all the stuff, like a lot of my friends like don't live in Georgia, so I don't get to see them like I used to. I don't get to hang out with them, like do stuff like fried chicken Wednesdays in the cab. That was a real thing that we all meet up with in the cab to have fried chicken Wednesday and talk to your friends and stuff like that. And I think that being in college, especially having it be online, I think it really depends on your professors, because I have some professors that are just very chill, very understanding. Like we're in a pandemic, I'm not going to like do too much. Like, I'm going to help y'all out as much as possible. And professor who like tries to assign literally 45 page paper every week, and she's like, if it's not turning on time, you know, it's not going to be the best. And I understand like because it's a shorter semester, she's like, I want y'all to learn as much as possible, but it also is kind of like it's very stressful, because like, you have to work, you have to like keep up, you know, just make sure everything is going good, like your family, and like keep up with your friends who you don't see every day, and then still try to keep like a positive mindset, because being stuck in the house, I think, can be very like, it was fun at first. Like I was like, oh, nothing to do but watch movies and TV, and that's what I wanted to just chill out, no obligations for real. And then it got real tiring, because it's like, oh dang, another day of like watching my show, ooh, another binge watch. And I think that after a while it gets really, really tiring. And you have to figure out new things to do and like how to stay active, how to be positive and not get so stuck in your mindset. And I feel like that's where I am right now, is like trying to stay in a positive mindset. And so like understand like this is going to be here for a minute, but like what can I do to make it better for myself, so that when we are in this, I can like really get back to enjoying my life and not be so stuck in like this space now. Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, unlike Taya and Courtney, I can honestly say staying in the house was never fun for me. It was never a good time. Not a homebody. I don't like that. When it comes dealing with this pandemic, school, work, internship, I literally have to take it just one day at a time. I cannot think about what I have to do next week. I cannot think about what I have to do on Sunday. I have to take it one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, because otherwise I'm a really big overthinker and I can get overwhelmed really quickly. And with us not being in school, that's been very hard, because the way I am, I'm very interactive in all my classes. I like to talk. I like to engage. That's just how I am. So not being face to face in my classes is just, I forget I'm a student sometimes. I really do. And I honestly like being in class, because I like to have classroom discussions, because the classes that I take are very interesting and I always have an opinion. And it's just whack. Like, yeah, it was never fun for me. When they first canceled school back in March, I was like, this might as well be the tip of the iceberg, because y'all canceling school means y'all can't be spring break. Well, my spring break trip got canceled because I was supposed to go to Italy. Yeah. That means all the end of the year parties got canceled. Summer vacations out the window. Now we fall semester. I'm a senior, like Courtney. Senior homecoming, it's gone. I'm still mourning over that. So yeah, I just take everything 1 minute at a time, and it's hard, especially when everybody like getting sick, and you kind of get this pressure to like call all your older loved ones and elders and stuff. And I try my best to call everybody, but in a day, it's just like it's a lot going on over here. And if I'm not feeling well, I don't want to call anybody because I don't want to just transfer that energy onto them. So even if it may seem like, well, Jayla ain't called me in so long, it's because Jayla going through it and she's probably sparing you from not calling you. So yeah, I just take it one day at a time because honey, this corona mess is a mess. She's sick of it. She was sick of it in March and she's sick of it now. Yeah.
No, I understand that, and I appreciate all y'all for like really bringing that in because I want to give people that kind of like perspective. Like this is definitely just as hard for young folks, right? Because I think before when the pandemic started, a lot of it was because we're talking about our most vulnerable population, so a lot of the attention was like on elders and stuff like that, but not understanding how we're also having to navigate this as well. And we got some folks too who also said that they were also sad because like they had graduations that got canceled, and they really uplifting y'all in the chat. And so no, we thank y'all for being here. And I kind of wanted to start there a little bit just so folks can kind of understand that before we start diving into like every election people are going in with like issues that matter to them. And so for each of y'all, like, and for folks who are tuning in, like I mentioned, these three folks have been on our team doing the work, talking to the community, also have been creating the content and stuff. I guess from like y'all's vantage point, what are some of the issues that are at the forefront of your brain going into this? Like I know a lot of times they talk about like how young folks are all about climate change, but I kind of want to also expand it to like hearing more about some of these issues and why they're resonating for you right now as we go into this election.
Okay, I can go first again. One issue that's really important to me, and I guess just because of the world and how it's been acting recently regarding police brutality and prison reform and things like that. So hearing about what the candidates have to say about police reform, and I just want to get rid of the whole system, prison abolishment at that point. But like just seeing what politicians have to say about that, because it's a huge concern. I mean, because we know what prisons look like and what they're for, and just how harmful they are, especially to our communities. And so with prison reform, also talking about marijuana legalization, just because so many Black and brown men have been incarcerated for things that white people are making money off of now. You know what I'm talking about? Like in states with legal marijuana, we see white people have the privilege to sell it, whereas like our cousins and our brothers and things are in prison for minor drug charges. And so one thing I remember being concerned about during the last, I think it was the vice presidential debate, was hearing what they had to say about marijuana legalization and also the expungement of minor drug charges and just like releasing people from prison. And so that's one thing that I'm really concerned about, prison and police reform and things like that. Like I'm really just, I'm trying to make sure that the world my siblings, like my Black brother and my Black sisters grow up in, is in a world that they can be, prosecuted for things that have, yeah, I just want them to be able to like live their lives without being worried about the system trying to take them. Yeah.
Okay, I go next. I thought we was doing.
Okay, I would say that for me, one of the things that I'm worried about for sure is. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, no, we're just having a little technical glitch there. You froze there.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Oh, I froze?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, Joe, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, well, the top issues for me personally, since I am a Black woman, would be, of course, racial injustices in healthcare, because as I feel like as a Black woman, women in general, but Black women in the hospitals, we get mistreated the most. Like, which is why Black women are the most likely to not make it through childbirth, because they don't care about us in the healthcare system. They don't care about us in the hospitals. They just simply do not care. They don't care about women, period, because they're trying to get rid of reproductive health care. Because when people hear reproductive health care, they just think that it means abortions, when it means a lot more than just abortions. Like, Planned Parenthood is not just an abortion clinic. It has cancer screenings. It has so much more to offer for people who may not can afford the big, doctor visits. So healthcare and racial injustices, because like I said, I'm Black and I'm a woman. So, and my health matters. So racial injustice and healthcare for sure. Especially with this pandemic, healthcare, because they don't care about us in them hospitals. They don't care about Black people. They don't care about women. They definitely don't care about Black women in them hospitals. If you think they do, think again.
No, thank you for uplifting that. That is so true. And folks are loving what y'all got to say. They're saying, thank you for the honesty and drive. We're so glad you're back with us, Courtney. So we're going to go ahead and pass it over to you to go ahead and talk about some of the issues that you're bringing to the forefront.
Yes, I'm sorry, y'all. Where I am right now, my internet connection is a little bit unstable, so I apologize about that. But I would say one of the things that I'm definitely worried about, that I think is definitely student debt loan forgiveness. That's something that's very important to me, especially being a college student. Like, I need people that are going to have reform put in place to lower the student debt that's going to be taking place, especially after we graduate, everything going on. Another thing that's very important to me, of course, is police reform. I think that it needs to be a lot of work done within our justice system, just in general, as far as like I personally am just pro defund the police. Like, let's take a little bit of funding from them and put it in different places. That's going to benefit everybody else. And so I think that is something that's been very important, especially with all the protests and everything going on. And I've been seeing, all of us have been seeing like these protests going on for, I think, like most of our lives. And so I'm ready to see a candidate that's going to work towards fixing the issue. And not just say it, but actually put forth action, policy reform to fix the problem that's been facing our community for such a long time.
No, thank you all for that. I definitely feel y'all about that. I think, like, because it's y'all familiar with like reproductive justice, and what we do is all about like being able to have safe and sustainable communities to really thrive in. Talking about reproductive health care, making sure that we're not in overwhelming senses of like overwhelming amounts of student loan debt. And so folks are really appreciating y'all for lifting up these issues. And so I guess, this is the kind of thing that I think is always on people's mind. It's a question that I always get as a young person. And so I'm going to throw it at y'all too, just so people can hear. But it's like, with all of the issues, right? Like, to your point, like, this is stuff that has been happening a lot for like a bulk of our lives. Like, what keeps y'all motivated in continuing to vote and be civically engaged? And then a second part to that is that, like, how does that carry you into like encouraging others to do the same?
I can go. I would say that for me, as far as voting, I know, like, I had to learn this as I got older, that if voting was not so important, they would not have been trying so hard to stop us from voting or do so much to stop us from voting. Because a lot of the things that happen, like, believe it or not, comes from voting. Of course, like what we do, like grassroots organizing and like going out and doing the protest for something that's wrong. But I think that it all starts at voting, and like small voting, not even just for like the presidential election. But I have to understand that when it comes to voting, if I want to see things done within my community, I have to vote for smaller things within my community and then work my way up. And I think that also just understanding how, like, me, like how, like seeing like what's been happening in my community and like seeing things that I want to fix and I want to change, and being like becoming so passionate about it has really kept me motivated to vote. And then also encourage like my peers to vote, because I don't know, but I genuinely get so frustrated when I get on like Instagram and I see like somebody that I know, like, oh, I'm not gonna vote because it's the third, like it doesn't matter. I just get so frustrated. And my first thing that I always ask people is like, okay, well, if you're not going to vote, like, what else are you doing? Like, are you going to talk to people? Like, are you volunteering at these grassroots organizations? Are you going to speak out against issues? Are you going to the protests? Are you doing those things to like small stuff to like make the problem go, like to fix a problem that you see? Are you just sitting at your house on Instagram saying why you're not gonna vote and how it's stupid? Because if you can't do, like, the bare minimum to me is just going out to vote, and everything after that is something that you're putting forth to see change. And so I think that for me, it's just that understanding that like it has such an impact on our daily lives, and I will not be a part of, I feel like if you're not voting or if you're not doing something to fix it, then you're a part of the problem, and I don't want to be a part of the problem. So
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
You got a Scotty in here, Taya.
Period. Hey.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad you, because I was like, I don't want to mess up their name. Y'all already know how I feel about names. Okay, like,
Hey.
but yes, welcome. I had to pass that on. But no, Courtney, that resonated. They said every vote counts. I agree. Like, and I love that approach about how you're like, so okay, you're not voting. What else are you doing? Like, what else can we be doing to support the work that's on the ground? Taya, Jayla, did y'all want to add anything to that?
Yes, I can. Well, I agree with everything Courtney said applies to over here as well. But yes, I just feel like, you're grown up and you're registered, or even if you're like, if you're able to be registered and if you're able to vote and you don't exercise that right, I don't really know. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about them type people. That's so ridiculous to me. That is so ridiculous. If you are able to vote and you choose not to vote, then you need to look in the mirror and just reevaluate your whole life. Because what are you doing with yourself? You do not need to complain about nothing. I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to see you complain about nothing. It gets on my nerves. I just don't even talk to me. It's ignorance. That's it.
Oh goodness, no, I understand. Like, it can be very frustrating too. I think, especially in the way that this election has been going and stuff like that. And so I think that if we can, to be able to do it, because there definitely are some barriers for folks who can't vote, and we definitely acknowledge those and really work to dismantling it. But I definitely understand your frustration with that. Tay, did you want to take a crack at this before we
Yes.
put up a question from the chat?
So one thing I wrote down, I had to grab my my post-it notes and write some stuff down because I felt like there was a lot to say about this. One point I made was that activism is a constant thing, right? So like this summer when everything was starting, everybody had Black Lives Matter in their bios and was sharing petitions and was posting the black squares and things like that. But then a couple weeks and a couple months went by, and now there's like next to, like no talk about the issues that we deemed so important a couple months ago. And a lot of it is peer pressure, so if we don't see one of our friends posting about it, we're like, oh, why don't you post about it, or why aren't you interacting? And so there's a duty to do that. But another thing is just understanding that activism is a consistent thing. You know what I'm saying? If you want to see something change, even though it's very easy to get discouraged, like it's something that you have to constantly work on. So like Courtney was saying, like it's the least you can do voting at this point. It's like if you haven't been posting on social media or having conversations with your family, like if you are able-bodied and able to vote, then like there's no reason why you shouldn't. And the second point I made was that your understanding of politics and your political opinions are constantly changing as you have more conversations, as you read articles and things like that. And so like at the beginning of the election, like I told my sister, I was like, I'm not voting. Like, why would I vote if, I had strong opinions about the candidates and, I just didn't know what to do. And so, as time went on and as I read and as I talked to my family and things like that, like I understand the importance of voting. But that's one thing to keep in mind, especially like when talking to family members and things like that, when you're like, why don't they understand what I'm trying to say? Like, it's just a process. It just takes time to learn and to form your own opinions and things like that. But yeah.
I am loving this energy that we have here on this Zoom today. And so folks who are listening, feel free to drop more questions in the chat. I know we got one that said, do y'all know how we can get volunteer to take people to the polls? I'm going to tell you all now, there's a website called Ride to the Poll, the singular.com. If you're wanting to volunteer to get a ride to give Ride to the Polls, they will provide training for you to make sure that you're following the best, COVID-19 best safety practices. You can request a ride there as well. So if you know folks who need that too. But I will say, if you're in Georgia, go ahead and fill out our Pledge to Vote card. That can also connect you as well to those resources too. And so I guess like because we got about maybe a little over 15 minutes left, and so hold on, the people were saying y'all better speak that truth. I'm saying a lot of this is resonating with people, okay?
As
Because I
it
think like a
should be.
lot of times, at least for me, uh, like I think like people really just don't get an opportunity to like hear from us as young folks. It's like as far as like what it is, like I hear a lot about what's happening in the news, or there's like a lot of assumptions, I guess, about like, what we're thinking or what we're doing, or
Mhm.
also like the flip side of that where like, they find people who are like us and we're talking about the ways and be like, oh my, it's a young person and they
It's
know
true.
stuff, right? Um I guess like, looking past you know, like over the past year, looking past the election and stuff, like what is something that has resonated for you that you think folks should just know, whether it might be about the election or if it's just about like overall y'all's experiences in, you know, when you have conversations with community or with your families and friends about this current moment, about where young folks are when it comes to the issues.
Um, uh, oh, you back, go Courtney? Okay, okay, okay. Okay. One thing that I feel like people should know is that I do understand like people who choose not to vote. I do, like, even though I said all that smack, I do understand the frustrations that would probably drive them to not want to vote. But I just want everybody to understand that you have to stop looking for a perfect candidate. Okay.
Mm.
I think that's what people get so hung up on. They want a perfect candidate. Nothing is perfect. Nobody is perfect. This is politics, boo. This is politics. Nothing is perfect in politics. So stop looking for a perfect candidate. Okay. Yes, you may not like what so and so done did in the past. You may not. Okay, but look at the other one. A mess. Stop looking for a perfect candidate. Just get that candidate that's gonna do, I hate to say it, but less damage than the other one. Like, just stop looking for a perfect candidate, exercise your right. And like Courtney said earlier, every election matters. Okay. Sometimes you wonder how people who get in hot positions, how they got there. Well, they got there because 5 local elections ago, when you missed that election, they was on that ballot for a smaller position. But because you didn't go to that election during that local election, you let Buddy slip up into that high position. So that's why they got there. That's how they got there. So, like Courtney said, every election matters. You need to go to the local elections if you want to stop these crazy people from getting to the top. And you need to do your research because Google is free. Everybody got a smartphone. Google is free. Google it.
Wow, I love it. And I think that resonates with this comment here that Malika raised, was that, like, the importance of voting, even when you may not like all the positions of the candidate, but voting for those who are best suited to and will champion the issues and listen to the issues you care about. I think that really speaks to that. So, no, I appreciate it. And for folks, like, look, like Jayla said, we can Google things and stuff like that, but if you're looking for a political home, with us, go ahead and take that pledge to vote. We will help and get those resources for you. We do a lot of research in the background. We got specialists. We're gonna get that information out to you too. And so I'm gonna go ahead and pass it off Taya or Courtney, whoever wanted to go next on that.
I was just gonna say that something that I have learned is that it's okay to, like, if you don't know something, to definitely ask those questions, or like if you said something and you were wrong or you were like miseducated on that fact, it's okay for like to listen to what others are saying that might not have been what you thought was correct. And now, like kind of like what Tay said, she was like, I wasn't going to vote. And then I talked to my friends and my peers and my family, and they were all like, okay, well, this is what would be better, or like things like that. And I had to learn that too. Like when I'm talking, sometimes I talk to my friends about different issues and I'll get so passionate. I'm like, no, like you're wrong and this is wrong. And then they'll be like, no, Courtney, like listen to what I'm saying and then look it up and do a little bit more research. And that's the best way, I think, to really help yourself to really pick a person that might be better for you. And like Jayla said, they might not be the perfect candidate, but you should know a little bit more about what their platform is, what they stand for, because I was not at all like very well versed in politics when I first started to like learn about it. Like when I got to college, I was like, what? Like presidents, yay. Like I didn't really know what else was happening on the back end. And so I think it's important to also surround yourself with people who know a little bit more than you do that can help you and like educate you in those things that you don't really know about, because that's the only way that you can get more well versed in it is learning and talking to people who do know and doing your own research. I think that like that's one of the things that I liked when I first started working at Women Engaged is that whenever we would talk, it was one of those things where it was like we were always learning new information about things. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is something going, like this is a new current event that I didn't necessarily know about. I'm glad that I do know, so I can look it up and then maybe I can educate some of my friends who also didn't know. And I think that's just important when it comes to learning new things, especially about politics. Thank you.
You know, I actually don't have a response to this question. I can't think of what to say.
That's okay. You know, I think sometimes, you know, we got a lot of great energy here. I think there's a lot of stuff that we pretty much are all resonating with, you know? So, no, there's no problem with that. I'm going to lift up some stuff. Some people love just some of the taglines that y'all have been saying, like, this is politics, boo. They said they love that, okay? You know, people are really appreciating what y'all have to say. People are also, again, to y'all's point about voting down ballot. And really, I think, you know, again, what you said, Courtney, really surrounding yourself with more people who may know more than you, or also just have different experiences. You know, I think like a lot of times like folks get really stuck in not being able to imagine life beyond their own experiences, that like even just being around other folks and hearing more about, you know, what they face every day and like having those conversations with people, and then also in turn trying to talk to them about like why they should vote, I think is an experience that most folks should take advantage of, because it's something that really puts you in like perspective. You're like, wow, like I didn't, you know, like hold on, what does it say? I think people don't vote. Yeah, that's the thing. And so like people are really resonating with what y'all said. Like I'm trying to pull out all the comments out. The thing started jumping. Okay, so I was like, I need to figure this out. And so I think we about in the last 10 minutes. I'm thinking now this is where we're gonna kind of wind down a bit. And it kind of rolls into this question that we got here. You know, y'all said it before, y'all are students, y'all are trying to balance out a lot of stuff. Y'all are working an election. I know y'all are doing stuff outside of that in your communities as well. Folks are just really wanting to know now, like, what are some of the ways in which you're being kind to yourself, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of times, and this is going to be a little bit of my rant, right? Like in the sense that I think that when people talk about supporting like Black owned businesses, that people often forget about Black organizers. So like people, you know, y'all know it. We get it all the time. People are really stressed out. We getting cussed out. We getting, you know, all these little like adverse reactions and stuff. And the reality is that like, you know, we are also affected by this too. We are also living in this while simultaneously trying to like figure this out. And so I'm like, could you like I thought y'all was about supporting Black owned business, so why are you not supporting? Like, what's up? Like, where's the love? So like I guess like in the sense of it, I wanted to just provide that perspective. Is that like how are y'all prioritizing y'allself right now, or taking moments for yourself to prioritize care? And it could be something small. I know for me, like I said at the top of y'all, I don't think y'all were on yet. I was telling folks, I was like, I drink tea a little bit more, just trying to stay hydrated and stuff. It's some time that I have maybe like 5 minutes to myself in the mornings to really prioritize some care in this. So I would love to hear from y'all about what y'all are doing.
Well, I could say for me, there are so many people in my house and so many responsibilities and so many little voices and running in the hallways and like just like noise and chaos. And so one thing that I've learned is just to like be selfish with your time. If you feel yourself getting to a point where like, if I hear one more thing, I'm going to scream, or like if I hear one more person arguing, I'm going to scream, and just like being selfish with your time in the sense that like when you feel yourself needing to step away, like just step away, because yeah, well, the situation is still going to be there when you know, finish your break, but it's just about checking in with yourself and just understanding what are my limits, how am I feeling right now, where can I spend less time so I can focus on myself. And so just like self-care has been super important for me, and just realizing like whatever I have going on can wait for a little bit if I need to take care of myself first. So that's one thing that I've been really understanding, is that like even though it's really hard, it's just like putting yourself first, because when you are at your best, like you can perform so much better than when you perform at your worst. You know what I'm saying? So like take whatever steps you need to like get to your best self. That way you can you can show that through your work and interactions with your family and things like that. So
Um, I would say for me, something I'm definitely doing to like take care of myself. I think that one, like Tay said, is taking mental breaks, and then two, like I personally like I started getting like incense and stuff like that, and like I'll burn my incense and I get stressed, and then like also drinking my tea, and then I'm definitely on like a little just self journey of like weight loss journey, mental health, mind, body, and like spirit. It's like something I'm trying to just get all in tune. And so like recently I was like, I want to get a trainer. So I got a trainer, and that's something that I just did for myself. And like I factored that into my budget. And I was like, this is something that I need to do to make myself feel better and just to feel like I'm being, more active because I am in the house more. And so I do that just to like have more time to like get active and just feel like during that like hour, I'm not thinking about nothing else but this and getting through this workout and being here for like me and holding myself accountable. So that's something that I've been doing. And then also, like I said, like I get my incense. Like if I'm feeling too overwhelmed, I will burn my incense in a heartbeat. And I will take that moment to be with me. And I will sip that tea and I will turn on one of my shows that I have been watching that I probably binge watched. And I'm rewatching it now. And that's what I'll do to like check in with myself.
LOL. I'm laughing because this is my roommate, and every time she's stressed, I know when she's stressed because I smell that sage, honey. I smell it. I'm sorry. Woo. Okay. Something I do for myself. Well, since COVID has taken so much away from just a lot of people, which don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful, very blessed, because at the end of the day, it could be a lot worse. So I'm not complaining. But something that I have started is I have to give myself something to look forward to. So every week, I look forward to Fridays because that's when I go get me Chick-fil-A breakfast every Friday. And throughout the week, because it's some long weeks. So on Wednesday, by Wednesday, I had to have Starbucks. So I do that every week because I have to look forward to something. In between, I may hit up a happy hour. I am 21, by the way, so I may hit up a happy hour because like all these days be long. 1 week feel like 3 weeks to me, so that's why I gotta treat myself 3 times a week. And also, since we've been in the house, I've really gotten into podcasts. And so podcasts, they come out weekly, and I know what day they come out on. And let's say one podcast come out on Monday, one podcast comes out on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm excited each of those days that a podcast drops because the podcast literally just brings me joy because it's a conversation that's kind of taking my focus off the problems in the world. Like when I get on Twitter, when I get on Instagram, yes, it's funny, but at the same time, I'm still going to see all the problems that's going on in the world. But when I turn on my podcast, it's like I just in La La Land, and I just get to laugh with the girlies on the podcast like I know them. And I don't got to think about what the police is doing in the streets. I don't got to think about what 45 done said. I could just think about, girl stuff like, ooh, new club, boy problems, yay. So yes, podcast and buying myself Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, and happy hour. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm loving all of the kids y'all are talking about, and it's really resonating with folks in the chat. And just so you know, somebody else said in the chat too that they talking too much. You're not talking too much in the chat. You can chat all you want in here, okay? But we got like a few more minutes left. I just want to say thank you to the three of y'all for being here with us today, really sharing some of y'all hot takes and y'all's wisdom. For those of y'all who are tuning in now and who are watching this in the future, seeing our past selves, this is just a little bit of a snippet of how wonderful these three folks are. Been working with them for a while now. They are a treasure trove of information, experiences, and have really been on the ground moving this work. And also, again, navigating all the things that are going on and stuff like that. And so, again, just saying, like, this is what community looks like, and this is what we're building here and trying to get that together. So I appreciate you all for sharing your insight and your things like that. I don't know if you all ever get a chance. There are people in here asking for your podcast list, Jayla. So you're gonna have to chime in on the chat and like list that out for folks. But before we end out, I always love to end out with a song. I know there's three of y'all though. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but we gotta choose a song to play out. What song we playing out to? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I picked cause I saw the outline. I picked "Brighter Day" by Kirk Franklin. Cause
How
it
y'all
feels
feeling
a
about
dark
this?
child, but it's gonna be a brighter day one day.
Okay, how y'all feeling about that on the rest of the day? This is a democracy.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
down for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, yeah.
All right, you said brighter day.
Well, I got my yellow because it's gonna be a brighter day, Lord. Yes, ma'am.
I love that. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna add that to the playlist too. All right, it started. You know, Kirk Franklin got them slow intro.
Yes, take it to church. Yes.
Yo, everybody come get your bounce on.
So, you know, with that, y'all, thank y'all again for tuning in. Folks who are tuning in already haven't, go ahead and take the
Don't be cute with it. You gotta get, come on.
sign up.
Fifth
Join
ward.
in with the we got
Fourth
going
ward.
on here. This is
Come
not
on.
the last
Sing
week
it.
from this. They don't know that, but now they know. But you know, again, thank y'all for joining us. We'll be back again live on Instagram tonight at 6 o'clock. Unfortunately, not everybody will be able to pop in, but hopefully y'all can pop in. We can talk some more, have some more conversation, whether it's about the election or about podcasts and stuff like that.
What's
This
this?
is y'all shout out some of the people and they love to hear young folks talk about political views, environment, and they're wishing you all the best.
Thank y'all.
Um,
Thank y'all.
in your life and your career.
On
I'm trying to shout out all the comments. You feel like you can get this now. It's a great conversation. I think y'all all look great. Yeah, I think that's it. So there's no more to add to the chat. We thank y'all again for tuning in. This is all the wives. We'll upload IG later this week or next week. And thank y'all again. Great.
Bye bye. Thank y'all.